Hey, what's up? My name is Daoud Heidami. I'm a real estate agent, founder and principal of the Catalyst team at Compass, and welcome to a New York Conversation, where we talk to notable New Yorkers about their New York. Our goal is to support small businesses, so we'll hear from our guests who their favorite small businesses are and tag them in the repost of this interview. So tonight, I have a special guest, a wonderful actor, Happy Anderson. Happy has worked on TV, film, theater. Best known for his roles as Jimmy on the Knick and Jerry Brudos on the Netflix series Mindhunter. What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
Oh man, I'm pretty okay. It's great to see you.
Oh, you too. You too. Thank you so much for doing this with me tonight.
Oh, my pleasure, dude.
So we met actually a while ago through
years, I think.
Yeah, through Arian, and
Yes.
And then we kind of like seen each other passing through the night.
Like ships in the night, man. Tangentially connected.
Yeah, but I've been following you and your career as an actor, and you're just spectacular and splendid. And you've been working nonstop all over the place. And I want to hear to start us off, because we're going to talk about New York. We're going to talk about your favorite small businesses. But tell us your secret recipe for success.
You mean specifically in
your craft?
Oh gosh. Okay. So, well, it seems like there's always some combination of 3 or 4 things, right? Opportunity and luck, and you have to be good, talent, and work ethic. I found is the most important thing, because when you're up for something, everyone there can act, but it gets to a point you have to outwork people.
Yeah,
and create opportunities for yourself.
That's really well said, man. I know it's those are things you can't really teach.
No, yeah.
And
was there? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you get out of acting school and like no one tells you those like 4 things. You're like, well, I can do 18 sonnets. Great. We want you to say pass the beer nuts on Law and Order or whatever.
I remember. I think speaking of 2 ships passing in the night, I remember you were shooting. You had an arc on The Blacklist, and I was shooting, and I was shooting something, and we kind of like passed each other, like, "Hey, do you remember that moment?"
I totally remember. It was at lunch or something.
Yeah, that was cool. I just had dinner with Daniel Cerrone, one of the writers on it, actually, because
no kidding.
Yeah, he's he plays fantasy basketball. We play fantasy basketball, and that's kind of how it all started.
How did that come about?
What's that?
How did that come about, this fantasy basketball game?
Oh my God! It started with all my college buddies. We sort of started playing, and then they all left and made me the commissioner. And I was like, "Who are my buddies?" So I invited some friends, and all of a sudden, it became a bunch of writers and actors in this fantasy basketball league, and it
exploded.
Exploded! It's so much fun. So speaking about these recipes for success, what's been a pivotal moment in your career, in your acting career?
I think when I was cast in my first like multi-episode thing, which was on the Knick, that Steven Soderbergh thing, and up until then, I had been, doing like very low pay off-Broadway theater and a bunch of co-stars and stuff. And I hadn't ever had an arc before. And so my experience and the way I remember it is ever since then, there's been way less resistance to me.
Oh, yeah. That's well put. It's so funny, though, you bring up Jimmy. But, like my wife is a huge like crime everything all about crime. So she was like, when we watched your arc in Mindhunter, she was like, oh, you did such a great job.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
How long have you been in the city?
Oh gosh, I moved here in January of 2003, but I grew up like 2 hours north of here.
Where?
High Falls, New York, in Ulster County.
Oh, wow.
If you haven't been there, there's no way you've heard of it.
No, I haven't. I've heard of Ulster County.
Yeah, it's like Stone Ridge and New Paltz and all, like just past Poughkeepsie, the last stop in the Metro North.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you came from Ulster County to New York. New York is your place. Why?
Well, I've always wanted it to be my place. I actually moved by way of Bloomington, Indiana, where I know Arian from. I finished grad school and moved in with him. I interviewed him for this, and he was like, we had a 5th floor walk up. Y'all had a bunk bed. There were, how many roommates did you have? At one point, we had 6 in a 3-bedroom.
And 1 bathroom.
1 bathroom, yes. Oh my God! And there's only 1 woman there. The poor thing. She was the only one who had a room to herself, like in the bar.
And what did you pay in rent? What was your portion of rent? Was that your first place? Is that the first place you ever moved to in New York?
I didn't even know I was necessarily even moving here. I was staying with my parents right after graduation, and I came in for a party at Tom and Arian's one night, and I still haven't left. I stayed.
That's awesome. And what was your portion of the rent? Do you remember?
Arian didn't cover this.
I think his portion was like $630, but who knows? Everybody's portion's always different, depending on if you're bunking or if your room is small. He told me about the bunk beds too.
Yeah, and couches were being used. I mean, it was a fucking mess. I mean, when I first got there, my portion was 1/5 of the utilities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I moved to New York City, moved with $89 to my name.
Wow.
So, and it took forever to like get any kind of job, any kind of just stupid job, so mopping the floors, anything. It took months. Yeah, like it was slow going at first. It was really, really, really a nightmare. But also some of the happiest memories I have. I mean, you know, we were still very young, and we were doing these like weird plays that like 5 people would come to. I mean, it was great in a lot of ways. In memory, it's great. At the time, I was pretty anxious.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny. You think I'm listening to you, and I'm like, oh yeah, why do people move to a city and on a 5th floor walk up and bunk and like 6 people in an apartment? And you're talking about kind of like the essence of Linda saying, still doing that. Are your hecklers here? And it goes to the essence, I think, of why of the power and the Renaissance and really the power of New York, right?
100%.
Yeah.
There's no other place that I would even consider living that way.
Yeah.
You know, ever, even when I had no money, even when like I had very low standards, I would only do that here.
So, within that journey, you didn't really answer my question, which is New York is your place. Why?
Oh, I've never not wanted to live here.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up, in the town we grew up in, which is a very small town. We were locals, you know what I mean? And my parents and all my friends' parents kind of resented the city people with money who would come up. My dad be like, the damn leaf peepers are here again. But I really romanticized the city. And I next to the house I grew up in, Mandy Patinkin and his family had their like weekend summer house was next to my house. And,
oh, wow.
And so I walked over there. Actually, one night I went and saw The Princess Bride. I was 8 or 9, and I went into his yard and was like, "We're friends now." So then we started coming to the city, and I saw like falsettos and what was that, Secret Garden, like all the and just being in that energy in that environment. I was like, this is what I got to do. I hope I can figure out a way to do it. But this is for me, I think.
Wow. And is your family still next door neighbors to Mandy Patinkin?
Well, he still lives there. My parents retired down in Florida, but yeah, I mean, I still talk to them all the time. I'm still really close with one of his sons, and yeah, half of my family's down in a part of Florida that I do not care for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of my family's in Houston, so Houston and Florida and most of the South are in a world of COVID chaos. So
Oh my God, yeah.
I understand and I hear you.
Yeah, it's like my parents are so old. I mean, what are they supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy making.
So do you have a favorite, because have you kind of been all around the city in New York? Because now you live in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But before that, have you kind of seen all over? Where have you?
Literally all over. I was hopped from illegal sublet to illegal sublet up until I told you I moved here in 03. My name wasn't on a lease until 2009 when I moved in with Meg, who became my wife, obviously. And I mean, God, where did I live? I had a tiny bedroom in a house in Jamaica, Queen, like way out. Like you take the last stop on the F train and then take a bus even further to where that house was. And I shared a studio with two people on 34th Street. I lived in a story. I mean, it was great. I mean, it was crazy making. But now we have this really big, beautiful apartment. The neighborhood's quiet,
And you're right by the park.
Right by. That's my favorite park.
The best. Got us through COVID. Really, being able to walk around.
I couldn't agree with you more. And plus, I didn't even know all the nooks and crannies and the different ways it went until COVID. Because I had no reason to be like down where the gazebo is or past the cloisters. I mean, it's a beautiful park.
It really is. You're getting an invitation to Sweden, and Castos is saying hi, Happy. So having traveled all over the place, do you have a favorite New York corner, and why?
That's a very interesting question. When I was like, I don't know about that, but I do, but for one specific reason. And if it wasn't for this reason, it might well be one of my least favorite corners. But I would have to say 46th Street and 6th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. And that is because that is where I met my wife for the second time.
Oh.
I was initially introduced to her through Arian, who was apparently the co-star of this. She grew up with him and she came to visit him at IU and I met her there. But then we lost track of each other and then we ran into each other there years later and it went great ever since.
Wow. And where were you? Was it just the corner at a?
I was meeting up with a friend. It's very tangential. I was meeting up with a friend who was meeting up with a friend who was friends with Meg.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those are the best stories, honestly. So you moved to New York to pursue acting.
Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah, 100%. So, because sometimes, have you also, I'm following your career. I see that you're dabbling in doing voiceover. You also have coaching. You do coaching. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. I do. For years, actually, I've been doing on and off audition coaching, usually for on-camera stuff, but for anything. And, it started as a way a while back to fill in gaps in my income, and I had and have a lot of teaching experience. And then it just started this small business and I do it whether I'm busy or slow. I do it all year round,
Yeah.
Yeah. What information about that in my class is on happyandersonacting.com.
Awesome. And then tell me about because this is kind of a genius thing you've started, which is your TV show. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, my wife Meg and I, I know we're not remotely unique in that we were losing our minds when the entire world shut down. It seemed like everybody was dropping dead or close to, and we just started. It first started. We just turned the cameras on each other and just talked, and then the star of these shows is Meg's editing. I have to say, I just have to be an idiot and show up, but. The way it's cut together is really so we were doing this for a while and then at first it was and mostly still is friends and family, like, oh, we love it, please do more. But now we find there's people that we check in with. Do you know them? I don't know. People we've never ever laid eyes on reach out and they're like, oh, please do more. We're so funny. I relate to that. You're an idiot. I relate to you, you know.
That's awesome. And what's the Instagram?
At the Andersons TV show.
At the Andersons TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting some great show. Love the Andersons. First of all, your name, you have the best name I think I've ever. Happy Anderson is so. Thank you, Mom and Dad. A lot to live up to some days, man. What's that?
A lot to live up to some days.
Oh yeah, that's true. So was there a? This is something I love hearing about, which is like, was there a moment that made you fall in love with New York, or?
That's a great question.
Or were there a series of events, kind of thing?
There were. I mean, it was a series of events, you know. I mean, I'm a diehard Mets and Giants fan, so I romanticized the city in my mind anyway. And my dad, in the beginning of his childhood, was in the Bronx, you know, even though they were Brooklyn Dodger fans. And so, and like all my uncles and stuff had lived there. It's been their formative years there. So that energy, and then they, you know, settled down in Westchester, but that energy always excited me. And then I was always really, really into New York movies, you know, like a lot of the stereotypical ones, you know, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, shit like that.
Yeah.
And there would always just, I was starting to say before, there'd always just be people from the city around, you know, and like the attitude and the swagger and the accents. And like, I wasn't like that at all. But then I tried desperately to reinvent myself as such and failed miserably. Nevertheless, I became an actor so I could keep trying.
Let me ask you another question. Has it been hard to be a Giants fan?
Oh, dude. I mean, they're so incompetent. And the thing is, I'm such a glutton for I keep going back again and again and again. I'm in an abusive relationship with my favorite teams. I just keep coming back for more.
Yeah, they're. I think you know, they've got to make a turn at some point. There's no other direction.
I know, but it's been 12 years. They're like, oh, we got to fix the offensive line every year.
Every year,
and they still have never done it. They think they do it.
So there's you're getting rave reviews about being an acting teacher and love your Anderson's TV show. Everybody's raving about it. So you guys who are watching, check it out, because and then Eli Manning was your first love.
That's my wife, yeah. She did a commercial with him several years ago.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and I was so I was never a big commercial guy. I never booked many commercials. I never really cared. I was so jealous of her for that day. I thought my head was going to explode. And the way she tells it, like, you know, he shows up and everyone's like, oh, don't talk to Mr. Manning. And Meg was like, fuck that. And so she went up to him and he thought she was funny. And she was like, you know what we always say in my house, Big Red loves Big Blue.
That's
silly,
awesome.
But he loved it. So there you go.
Yeah. That's so cool. What was the commercial? What was the?
It was a Toyota commercial.
Oh wow!
And the part that Meg got, that she
what did Meg play?
Was originally meant for a 70-year-old man.
What?
But then I guess she came in and was funny. They're like, it's you now. It should be you now.
That's really that's the secret. You just revealed the secret.
Yeah.
Of any acting gig or booking anything. It's never really about what the writers write. It's about the essence of who you are walking into a room. And that's it.
I teach that all the time. I'm like, don't ever try to figure out what they want, because most of the time they don't really know.
Yeah.
And you can't get in their heads anyway. So just do what you do. Do you.
100%. So how was it when you first, were starting to audition and going out on these calls? And did it take you long to acclimate to the city from Ulster County?
I think so. Well, I was surprised actually that it was the difficult transition that it was. I mean, I grew up spending a lot of time here, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, trying to navigate living here and trying to navigate the business at first was a goddamn nightmare. I mean, I had no idea what to do. I was spinning my wheels. You know, all I knew to do was to ask around and just do what other people did.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and what about? I guess you had a tribe there to sort of bounce off of. So
that's the part of that terrible living situation that I missed the most was that feeling of community. You know, the days would be crazy, and then really every night we'd all be together again and go over our day and different ways we were trying to strategize what the hell we were even going to do. You know, bouncing ideas off each other. That in that respect, those days are very, very happy memories.
That's so great. This is what I love. I love hearing stories about, you know, because this all started from this place of like New York is dead, right? So
That's stupid.
It's so stupid. So so not only is it dead, but another big part of this is supporting our local small businesses. So I want to hear from you. Some small businesses that you love that we can go support and here in the city.
Okay, well, the two up in our neighborhood that I would recommend, tell me if you agree, are, the Uptown Garrison.
100%.
Right? Probably the best pizza, you know, certainly north of 50th Street or whatever.
Yes. I always get the honey chicken. That honey chicken is... And they had a really great event like maybe a month ago where it was a 20s themed like dance thing where just, you know, they hired some dancers and it was just right on 181st. And there was like a 20s themed thing. There was band dancing. They were giving away free drinks and like that chicken again. That always pulls me back to it.
So, oh man, when was that? I had no idea about that.
You know, like a couple months ago, you know, I follow all of these uptown on Instagram, all of these like uptown events. I'll share them on the repost so that people can check that out.
I also highly recommend, in general, everyone support their local record store. Right. My favorite happens to be just slightly north of the city, but there's another really great one by Minetta Lane or something, you know, in the West Village. Village has great selection of used records. I like the one in Hastings on Hudson called Clockwork Records. It's literally just a 15-minute drive from here. But it's obviously not the city, but it's almost New York.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I just went on what my wife refers to as an old man trip with my college buddies.
Oh boy,
and, one of them has like the family has a place in Wisconsin. So like one of my most favorite things that happened at the end of the day, usually in the evening, was they're a huge avid record collectors. So we'd listen to music on the record player, and it just was like, wow, how music really should be heard, right?
Yeah. I mean that I love the sound of the needle hitting the vinyl, and it's unlike any other way to listen to music. The only slightly way better is to be there, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, you know, and our generation, I mean, we're about the same age, so our generation really wasn't a big record generation. We were like cassette tapes and CDs, and so, I mean, what it's truly retro for us, because I certainly don't remember buying a lot of records when I was a kid, and now all of my I mean, as I've gotten older, my taste has gotten way older. Like I love, you know, old, beaten up 75-year-old alcoholic men strumming on the guitar, but and I have all the vinyls of that.
Good music.
Yeah, but it's just and also no one listens to albums anymore, you know. It was Spotify, Apple Music, and that's great. It's great to make playlists and everything, but back in the day, albums were put in order for a reason. You know, the artist wanted those songs in order for a reason, and it told a story, and it's we never just sit and listen to an album anymore. And that's the way it used to be. That's how people used to listen. I remember my senior year of college when the new Tom Waits album came out. It was on CD, and we all gathered in my apartment, in my bedroom, actually, a whole shitload of us, and just sat and listened to it from beginning and didn't even comment until it was all over.
Wow. That's so cool. I have a WhatsApp group called Homies with Music, and it's kind of really awesome. And everyone is like, check out this album, check out this. Great. It's so really cool. So that I totally relate.
Yeah. That's some of my favorite shit to randomly do, honestly.
Yeah. It's so great. Okay, I want to play a fun word association game before we go, because I'm gonna throw out some more fun New York words, and then I want to hear your reaction to them. And the first one is gonna be your favorite New York live performance.
Todd Snyder, we just saw at the Gramercy Theater last week.
Nice. Wow, how was that?
It was great, man. You know, everyone had to be vaccinated, and we were spread out. But it'd been so long since I've been to live music. I almost wanted to cry. I was so happy to be there and be with humans, sharing experience. You know. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's so cool. I've not been to that venue.
It's a good venue. I mean, it's it's for all like almost star songwriters, I would say, like a big enough following to fill up a theater, but not so much that like, you'd never put them at like the Madison Square Garden Theater, obviously.
Right. So you mentioned how great the pizza is at Urban, at the Garrison, but is there another pizza joint you love?
I don't think it's still there anymore, but at Midtown, wasn't there that Two Boots pizza?
Yeah.
And it had all those like slices named after TV shows or something.
Oh yeah. I wonder where was that in Midtown? I'll look them up.
It was on 9th Avenue, maybe 47th Street. Oh, Meg just made a great mention, my wife, the John Prine. Oh yeah. His final album before he passed, The Tree of Forgiveness.
Yeah.
A perfect album.
Oh,
whether you like that kind of shit or not. It's an amazing, amazing album.
Wow. Did y'all go see him live?
Well, I've seen him a bunch, and the last time we saw him was that tour at Radio City Music Hall. And he was in his 70s, and it was the first time he'd ever performed there.
All right.
And he filled it up.
That's awesome. What's your favorite speakeasy cocktail spot?
Oh God, that's a question. That's a good question because it's been a minute.
Yeah. And you know what I'm going to do, Happy? And the reason why I asked this, because I'm going to also tag them when we repost this interview so we can give them some New York support. And love.
Okay, great. Well, for years it was Joe's Pub because that was a great concert venue.
Yes.
At the Public Theater.
That's a great one, actually. Joe's Pub is, and I hope that they've started booking gigs. Have they? I don't. Merry Wives opened, so Shakespeare in the Park is happening.
Yeah, Shakespeare. I imagine. I mean, it's a little squished in Joe's Pub, but I imagine they must have some plan to eventually open if they haven't already.
Yeah. Daily Badge is giving some New York love. Hi, Daily. What's a New York hidden gem for you?
Oh God. Where did we go? Oh, I wish she was here. We went, because Meg and I would always I would challenge ourselves to find new and interesting dates.
Yeah.
And we went to some.
Meg, help your husband out here. He's struggling. You remind me of me. I'm always like, oh yeah.
Well, I remember one time we walked into some place and I didn't even know what it was, but the next thing I knew we were playing mini golf, and then there's all couples all around. We were playing horseshoes, and we're doing the Cloisters is a good place.
The Cloisters is pretty.
The Cloisters Museum, yeah. I love that there. But there was some some elaborate I guess date place. It was a bar, but it also had activities throughout the whole thing. I'd never seen anything like it. I don't really know what
She's saying, oh, that place is a parking garage now.
Oh, well, then we can't give that place love, I guess, unless you're really into parking.
Give me your commuting pet peeve.
Squishing in between where you're not going to fit on the subway, right? if there's just a little sliver of room between two people, I watch the person see it, walk over, turn their back, and I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do because nothing's going here. And people still, God love them, will try.
Yeah, that was intense in the pre-COVID days.
Yeah.
There's literally like you get in and you're like, ah.
It's like you're so mad you don't have a seat now. No one can use it.
No one. Do you have a favorite coffee shop?
Yes, I do. I love the Forever Coffee Shop and Cafe Bunny up here too.
Awesome.
Do you know the Forever Coffee Shop on
181 and
181 near Broadway?
Yeah. They're fairly new, so yeah, that's a and you know, I hope that they continue to do well. And
they were doing great right up until the pandemic. I think I assume like a lot of places up here are struggling. And also don't forget about the dog cafe.
Yeah, Cafe Bark.
Yeah, well there's dogs in there all the time. I love it there.
Yeah, that's a great spot if y'all haven't been to Cafe Bark. It's awesome. And then Meg's saying cart coffee forever.
I am a big cart coffee guy. I love like you know, in the mornings in all around Midtown and stuff, the carts. That coffee is my favorite.
Yeah, I love it. I got two more for you, and then I hate to say our time is going to end, but give me your favorite place to take a tourist.
Oh God. Well, my favorite place, anyone who comes into town, they do what I want them to do or what I want to do. So I take them to Citi Field or I take them up to the Meadowlands.
Nice. You know, good for you. Because those are great destinations that anybody from out of town would love to go to, whether they're fans or sports fans at all, because it's just being there.
Yeah, especially ever since Citi Field was erected after Shea Stadium, and that's like an event. I mean, that's like a whole. It dwarfs Yankee Stadium now. I mean, there's so much stuff to do there. So
yeah, it's pretty great. Okay, give me your weirdest only in New York moment.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two. I used to cater waiter for years, and one time we used to ride in a van out to the Hamptons, and that was bad enough as it was. But then one time we came out and we clearly had cut a car off, and it was like the day or next day after the Sopranos ended, and this car that we cut off pulled right up to us and was honking, and I turned around, and it's James Gandolfini literally going full Tony Soprano, pounding on the dash, pointing, cursing. I mean, this probably wouldn't happen in High Falls, I assume.
Holy moly. Can I tell you that we're actually rewatching The Sopranos? We're on season 2. It's one of the things we're doing right now is rewatching The Sopranos. That's insane. How did that moment end?
He pulled up next to us and was, I think, there's a woman with him who was going like this. and he was pointing at the driver. And fortunately, or unfortunately, the driver was very hungover and oblivious and just completely pulled off. So, like, you know, I just saw his face fade away to the darkness, pointing and yelling.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Holy cow, what a New York story that is. What's your other one?
Oh, so like I mentioned, I'm a big Mets fan, and I was at a bar with some friends that were visiting from somewhere, I think from grad school, from Indiana, and we were drinking and stuff, and it's just random. It's just something that makes no sense to me. So there we were, and we weren't watching the Mets or anything, but Rusty Staub, who was a large redheaded guy who had played for the Mets and then the Montreal Expos and the Mets again. He retired in 1985. He comes barreling in. I've never met Rusty Staub. I don't know Rusty Staub. And he puts his arms around us and says some vague, like, oh, you guys are doing great. Good job, everybody. Okay, good. and like talking to us like he's meeting us there, and then he's just gone. And nobody knew who that was but me. I was like, I think.
Whoa, Ty, that's random. Where were you?
At this bar that I don't think exists anymore called Scruffy McDuffie's in Midtown.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Who were your friends that were with you?
They were friends from Indiana University. So like my friend Pete and my friend Wolf, all people that Arlene would know and that Meg would know, but probably none of the rest of us would know. Or not all the non-me people would know.
Oh, right on. Wow. Dude, thank you so much, Happy, for...
Thank you for asking me, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too. I loved hearing your New York stories. And, you know, I think you're just such a wonderful actor. And much love and much continued success. And I'd love to like hang out. And
yeah, you're right here. So let's go to one of those coffee places.
I love that. I love that. Or the Garrison. Have some chicken and pizza.
also a very solid idea.
I love that. Happy, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, buddy.
Happy, my guy, New York.
Oh, Wavy, by the way, is a great actor.
Yeah?
I did a series called Reprisal with him. He played Notorious B.I.G. in that series on Netflix. Yeah. He's a wonderful actor.
Amazing. Is it out now?
Oh, it's been out. Yeah.
It's been out.
I
Okay,
forget
cool.
what it's called. Watch it. It's great.
Okay, awesome. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, be well. Join us here for those of you remaining, join us here every Tuesday at 7 as we continue this New York conversation series with our New York friends. In the meantime, if you don't live here, come to New York and support your small businesses. If you do live here, support your small businesses. Let's support each other. I love this. Thank you, Happy. You're the best. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Okay. Bye.
Peace. Bye.